Okay, we'll get started in just a second here. Just to anyone that may be in chat, um, this stream is going to be a stream of us clearing out everything here that has been kind of stagnant, hard to solve cases that are probably going to end up being no fix, but we have to rule out, we can't leave any stones unturned with data recovery cases. So we're going to be going through these cases and seeing what we can do. Now, these are the hardest of the hardest cases in the queue. This is probably going to be a long stream, and hopefully I could stay awake and alert long enough to still be viable as a board repair technician. So anyway, let me just drop this stream into the MacBook group, and you may notice that I am very red today, and that is because I am sunburned. But that doesn't matter. We're going to get to fixing MacBooks here. Okay. So that is done. Okay. So this first case that we've already been working on pretty extensively comes to us from halfway around the world that has already been to a couple other repair shops that have tried to repair it, and it is a nightmare. Yeah, so if you want data recovery, you should probably find somebody good at this before you trust your device to them. Anyway, this is a 2018 MacBook Air that does not turn on with the initial complaint of a repair shop found a burnt chip. And they doesn't look like they found a burnt chip. It sounds like they have burned a chip. And if you look at this, you can see that the PMIC for the T2 chip is burned very badly. Anyway, this was the main course of damage here that I've seen on this board. Everything else looks okay. I believe we are getting T2 power. What happened over here? Okay, so there's more flux here. There is some nonsense here. Okay, so somebody was here. I hate cases like this. Anyway, so we have flux there. Not sure what they were doing here. CDs look untouched. But anyway, we'll take it. So first things first, I want to plug this in and see what it does. I believe this one's 20 volts and 20 volts and like 0.02. So typical non-specific, possibly in recovery type nonsense. Anyway, we're going to plug this in and let's see what it gets. So looks like I have 5 volts, 21, 10 volts, 20 volts, 0.06, 0.020, 26, 7. This is atypical. That is pretty atypical. So I have hope for this little guy. Because this initial spike here, okay, when we have T2 dead NANDs, T2 chips, stuff like that, we'll usually get 20 volts and 0.02, 0.03. In this case, we're getting a spike here, and then it shuts off. So what can this be? This could be many things. This is like, could be very, very non-specific. It could be a short somewhere. We don't know yet. Anyway, I want to go ahead and probe around this PMIC right here, and I want to see if our T2 is getting all of its required voltages. Now, technically, we already know that we're getting the required voltages for the T2 because we have 20 volts. But I want to double check. I want to make sure we leave no stone unturned. The PMIC has been screwed with, obviously, so I want to make sure that there isn't a voltage that's dropping out or something like that. So sleep 1V8S2R is fine, present at 1.8, 0.89, 0.9, 1.1, 0, nope, 1.1. So all these are basically present for our T2. So I'm not going to worry about that. I am most interested to see what is getting hot, what is using that power. So we have amp draw, Wherever there's amp draw like that, something is going to get warm. So I'm curious where those electrons are going. They're going to ground somewhere. They're going somewhere, and I want to be able to see where they're going. How I'm going to do that is with thermal imaging, of course. So let's go ahead and get our thermal imager out, and let's see if anything gets warm. And I do feel just a vague warmness. It doesn't feel normal. It feels like something is warm, like a small component is warm and kind of heating up the... Why is the inductor discolored? The inductor is discolored because a moron with a heat gun got to this board before me. And when a moron with a heat gun gets to the board before you, it tends to be discolored because they use too much heat. So anyway, we're going to get this set up, our thermal imager set up on screen so you guys can see it. It is 9:30 at night, and I have had a long day, but that does not stop me from coming back into work and fixing this board, hopefully fixing this board. Anyway, let's get this thermal camera software up and open. Let me put it over on the screen so you guys can see it. Now let's hope that this connects. It is about a sometimes 50-50, sometimes 80-20% chance that this will actually connect and show an image while I'm streaming, and it looks like today is our lucky day. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to have to do several images of this. So first things first, I just want this area right here, okay? I'm going to plug it in. We're going to watch. Oh, okay. See that little spike? That's all normal sequencing on the PMIC. It's pretty normal as well. But I did see an area of the PMIC that got warm, and that doesn't make me think that something is necessarily bad right there. It makes me think more of the fact that something the PMIC is powering is bad. Anyway, let's carry on. We're going to image another section of the board. Just watch and wait. 3v3 coil got hot. What's right here? Aha, that's just T2. And then the amperage drops. Interesting, very interesting. That's normal for it to be warm. That's the USCD 3215, not 17. So let's try over here. Anything? What are you? Okay. That's something. Was it just emissivity? What was it? Aha. What is that? That points out to me. What is that? That looks like a trace or something. Maybe even a resistor, and that's a clue. What are you? It's a resistor. So resistors can get warm sometimes. But that guy, look how it's soaking into the trace right there. Interesting. Okay, what do you do? And what are you connected to? That's odd. Okay, so that's a clue. Is it necessarily what's wrong with this board? Probably not, but it's a clue, and we're going to follow that lead. So it's a possibility in a diagnostic puzzle, and we're going to follow it. And that is PP5VG3S VCCIO PVCC. So that is for the VCCIO circuit. Now, VCCIO is very far up in the power sequence, which is interesting because, I mean, maybe the board is trying to turn on and then it's shutting off. If there's an issue in that circuit, we don't really know. Now these chips that control this, let's see, is it the same chip? Yes, it is. So these ISL chips right here that control the circuit tend to fail. We see these things fail a lot in the 2289s and 2159s. So yeah, they may have an issue. You know, I'm not ruling out this as a possible problem. What I could do, I don't necessarily have, actually I do have a 1521 that works, but I don't really feel like taking the board out of my 1521 right now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I want to see what spec, I want to see if, what value this resistor is. This is a 2.2 ohm resistor, so that's relatively low resistance right there. That's a 2.2 ohm on VCC. And I want to see what the resistance is and see if it is something that, you know, kind of leads a red flag in my head that might be an issue. So we're going to go in ohms mode on this guy. Let's see if it's 2.2 ohms. Is it 2.2 or 2.2k ohms? That's a big thing there. Alright, so they're both, this guy right here next to it is 2.2 ohms. Yep, 2.9 ohms, whatever. And this guy is in the kilo ohms. Hint, hint, something is very wrong here. So, we have a resistor that should be 2.2 ohms. We have a resistor that should be 2.2 ohms, and it is in the kilo ohms. What does that mean? Does that mean a bad resistor? Maybe, but what is going on here? What very important thing is going on here? The resistor is getting warm because those electrons are going somewhere, okay? Those electrons in PP5VG3S, which is a very important power rail, are flowing into that chip and going right to ground, and it's pulling it down, and hence that resistor, the thinnest wire in the circuit, is getting hot. So, most likely, if we were to replace this resistor, it would blow right away because the current draw is too high for it, and it exceeds the wattage limit of the resistor. The resistor is going to blow. So the most likely scenario here is that VCCIO chip is dead, shorted to ground internally, and then killed that resistor. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to go ahead and replace that resistor and replace the chip and see if it works. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a ISL 9, whatever those are, 9 something. I don't know off the top of my head. I used to know. I don't know anymore. Stress tends to do that to your brain. Makes your brain not function as a brain anymore. But anyway, let me find a 1521 donor board. I know they're in here somewhere. There's 1521 donor board. And let's just, for the heck of this, okay, let's do something else. Let's do a resistance measurement to ground right here, okay? So 1 lead on the chip, 1 lead on the resistor, 1 lead here. And I have 0.68 ohms to ground on our VCCIO circuit. So 0.68 ohms to ground, that is too low. I mean, that is very low. And on this guy, our good one that we're going to replace, we're going to mine that little chip. That's not going to worry. That's not going to matter. Anyway, so 0.68 ohms to ground and 1.82 ohms to ground. Okay, so that's pretty low, but that can be normal. But it's still less. I want to grab another board just for the heck of it. I want to see, I want to double check and make sure we don't put a dead chip on, because donor boards end up as donor boards for a reason, and I want to be sure. If I can't find another one, I have so many of the 1958s and 2337s, the M1s, but not too many 1521s. Here we go. Is this a 1521? Nope. Nope. Whatever. I'm sure it's fine. If not, we'll just get trolled, and that's nothing new for live streams on this channel. Why resistors get high valued? Resistors blow basically from high current draw. So a resistor doesn't just randomly go bad. Something causes a resistor to go bad. Think of it like a fuse. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, you see that resistor has a little hole in it. Why didn't you just automatically assume it's bad? Well, resistors can have those little hole type appearances sometimes and be totally fine. So if you have a resistor that has a little tiny dot on the top of it like that, don't automatically assume it's bad, because sometimes they won't be bad. So that's why I don't use that as just like an automatic, oh, this is bad. Peter, it's an 82001521. Now, of course, the more sinister diagnosis here would be that our processor is dead. And if our processor is dead, and I just nicked this resistor, so this one's got to go too now. If our processor is dead and somehow killed our regulator, that could also cause this. But we're not going to think about that right now. We're going to be positive and hope that our processor is not dead. So a dead processor is no fun. Just this. Done deal. Let's let it cool. Miles is here. How's it going, Miles? And how much do you want to bet that I'm going to take off this heatsink and I'm going to find some lousy thermal paste under this, not the Apple OEM stuff or carbon black? I'm pretty excited about carbon black. We have some new improvements that are coming out on it, and it's really nice. It's really, really nice. I actually had a 2179 in the other day, clicking with the typical dead CPU that had like MX4 on it or something. And you have to wonder, is that why it died? Because it basically doesn't have connection with the heatsink. Because you guys, a lot of people don't understand this, especially when I first came out with carbon black. They're like, oh, well, you just need to use more paste. Well, the thing is, all right, well, so this does have the Apple OEM stuff. The thing is, why Apple uses this thermal paste is because this heatsink does not make contact with the CPU. Okay, this doesn't make contact with the CPU. So they need something that has very large particles that can bridge heat over that distance there to work. So, and if you look at this, if you were to scrape this stuff off and put it on a regular heatsink, you would have massive thermal throttling. Because if you were to look at this, okay, look at these little like balls in it. Okay, see how coarse the particles are? Well, it needs that. Okay. It needs those thick particles, and then most likely this is also graphite based, so graphite with aluminum oxide coarse particles would be my guess. But that does a very good job, and I just snagged my microphone again. So that does a very good job at bridging heat over that distance. It's basically like a very high performance thermal pad, but the paste is better, works better than the thermal pad. So I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna grab some of the trial carbon black that we are working on here, just getting our formulas 100% right. And I keep snagging my microphone and stuff. I'm gonna, let's see, can I tuck this into my pocket? Yes, perfect. There. So if you've used carbon black before, you know it has a very good consistency of it. We went with a thinner consistency for ease of application, and it will harden up a little bit over use, but the new one is a bit thicker than that, which is fine. I mean, there's no issues with it being thick. Die off a little bit. One thing you'll notice about the Apple paste and our paste too is it does scratch the CPU die, which is not really a problem. But anyway. Yeah, this is the new version of it. You notice that it is very similar to the Apples. It has coarse particles in it. It's not quite as thick as Apples because we can't have it that thick because one, it's very hard to manufacture, and two, people will complain about having it that thick because of how hard it is to push out of the syringe. But it is, you know, it's close to that. It's very close to that. Okay, grab my heatsink. I'm just going to set this on here. We don't need to put screws in this just yet. And you could actually pick the board up. The stuff has such a good heatsink seal. You could pick the board up and handle it by the heatsink and it won't fall off. Anyway, let's go ahead and test this. I just wanted to have a heatsink on it, and I'm sorry for rambling about my creation. So let's see if we get anything different. 5 volts, 26. 10 volts, 0.8, 20.8, 0.21, 19, 16. Come on, come on, come on. Give me 50 something. 16. 17. That's the heatsink is getting warm. But that is different behavior. That is a much different behavior from last time. So we did make improvement here. Now I want to see, okay, so my CPU heatsink is getting warm. What's VCore? What is VCore reading? Maybe that's normal for this board, I don't remember. No VCore yet. Okay. Or we got a bad chip off the donor. Let me see where my VCCIO is. CPU VCCIO regs, VCCIO phase, right here. .05. Okay, so interesting. Is Apple going to come after you for carbon black? No. Why would Apple come after me for carbon black? I didn't infringe on anything. Apple has no information out there about what's in their paste. I formulated my paste solely in-house. Okay, so the same thing happened. Interesting. So our paste, I formulated it solely in-house. I didn't copy anything Apple did except, you know, ideas on the formula. Like, okay, so I figured I don't want to talk too much about I'm going to end up talking too much about what's in it. But I shouldn't. Anyway, I don't know for sure what makes Apple's paste black. I don't know if it's the same ingredient we use or not. The coarse particles in our paste is very different. The filler in ours, the thermal filler in ours is composed differently, and you could see that under the microscope. You see a few more added things that the Apple paste doesn't have, so I don't see why Apple would come after me for anything like that. It's not, you know, I didn't infringe on anything. It was solely formulated by myself and only me. So from what I understand, the black special stuff that Apple uses is actually made by Shinichi. Shoot, I don't want to show this. Why do I have this up here? So it's a paste from Shinichi that they did the typical like hide it from everybody type deal. So that's what I understand the black stuff is. No, Apple very much will use thermal paste in its next gadgets, to the person that said that. Anyway, so my brain is not functioning as intended right now. Here we go. So we have the same results here. Same exact results. So something is up here. What is up? I don't know. Anyway. So maybe we have a shorted cap. That could be the case. We could have a shorted cap. Something on this line. Again, my brain is not working. Here we go. So what I can tell you, the original thermal paste that is used on, again, all right, I've had a long day. Okay. Anyway, the original thermal paste that is used on MacBooks from the factory is this stuff right here. This is Shinichi Micro C X83 something or other. You could buy this on Amazon. It's like $8 for half a gram tube. And the thing is, this stuff is not even that good. It is decent. It is quality thermal paste. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I used this on my ThinkPad, and it lasted about a week before it pumped out really bad, and the performance was like terrible. But this thing sits at 100 Celsius all the time. So I have no problem using this on customer devices. It is quality stuff. I would 100% choose this Shinichi stuff over MX4 or Silver 5 or any of that stuff any day of the week. But this is what is originally used on MacBooks, in case you know. And a lot of people think that the paste is dried out. It's not. That's just how it is. This actually has methanol in it. So you have silicone. This, per their MSDS sheet, you have silicone or polydimethylsiloxane, zinc oxide, and aluminum, which aluminum is a common filler that makes paste gray, and then methanol. And the reason why they use the methanol is they could increase the solid loading count, and it's thinner. You put it on the heatsink gets hot, it boils the methanol off, and then it hardens. So there's that. Back to the board. Excuse my nonsense talking about thermal paste. Okay. So that resistor still got hot. We still don't have VCCIO voltage. That probably means we have an issue. Can you use what on switches? Carbon black? Absolutely not. Carbon black is black magic type stuff. No. You could use Shinichi, no problem, on switches or whatever. I am working on a general use paste. It is getting close. So that'll be released soon. All right, 0.51, 1.59. Take the chip off. I don't think the chip is bad. Just the markings on it. The person asked why it said that. Just the markings on it. Some say GAY, some say GAV. It's just the markings on it. Yeah, so Malls, a lot of Windows laptops, or pretty much a lot of manufacturers, use Shinichi. It's a very, very common and well-known paste among manufacturers. All the thinner pastes on the market they're thinner. They make them thinner so people don't complain that they're hard to apply. If you release something thick, people are going to complain that it's hard to apply. So, alright, so I have the same readings here. I have the same 0.6 something ohm here. This guy right here is no longer shorted. So, do I have a bad chip? I don't think so. The carbon black has worked well on thermal pads. The previous iteration I think had a little bit too much silicone for use on thermal pads because it tended to bleed into the paint on the heat sinks a little bit too much. But this next revision should be really good, and we may actually market it for thermal pad use as well. So this literally only has one possibility to be shorted, and it's this capacitor right here. That's the only possibility. It can't be anything else. It's not possible for it to be anything else. So any cracks in it? Sometimes you could see it. Looks fine. Briz, you could do whatever you want as long as you split some of that money with me. And our short is gone. So it was that capacitor there. Interesting. Got it. So Briz, you sue Apple and tell them that you saw an offensive word on my stream written on a chip, and you share that money with me, and we're all good. Hunt for another 1521. I know we have 1521s. They're just buried, and I have this really bad. We have everything organized, labeled for. Well, they're not labeled, but they're supposed to be labeled. Where donor boards are supposed to go based on model number, and for some reason, I never put them back there. I just end up throwing them in randomly, which is probably really bad. It shouldn't be that way, but I'm lazy when it comes to stuff like this. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I would need that. I would need a resistor. Do I have 2.2 ohm resistors in a reel? The thing about thin thermal paste, you do get better performance. 2.2K, not 2. Alright. You do get better performance with a thinner thermal paste. But if you use a thinner thermal paste, longevity will suffer. So, like something like MX4 on a laptop is not good. And that's something that I always used to put MX4 on laptops. And when customers would say, oh, it feels like it's running hotter than before, the bottom is hotter. I was like, yeah, no, we put quality thermal paste on it. It's just, that's normal. And now I'm actually realizing, okay, that actually is a problem, and now I know why, because MX4 is way too thin and it will pump out. And you get issues like that. So Shinichi or HY, the stuff called HY880, it's really cheap, is my choice for thermal paste. Currently, but I want to make one perfect. I want to make a perfect one that can be used and released. And I'm getting there, but again, I'm not going to release a product that's not ready yet. So let's get this down here. Got it. Okay. Capacitor. What is the Lewis method, Malls? So the Thermal Grizzly ping stuff is actually what's on my ThinkPad right now. So I don't have any complaints about the ping stuff, but it is expensive, and it wouldn't be feasible to use that on customers' laptops. I mean, we'd go through a tube of that every single day. So, you know, 20 bucks a day on thermal paste is a little steep. Paul Daniels is here. This board, Paul, is a 2018 Air 1521 that had a short, the resistor for VCC on for the VCCIO circuit was getting hot on thermal. It's been to another repair shop. They burned the hell out of the PMIC, as you can see here. And replaced the chip, same thing, and then I figured out it was a capacitor up above it that was dead, not the chip itself. So, Malls, way too much thermal paste doesn't matter. I mean, as long there's a clearance on the heatsink, and as long as you fill that clearance, you're usually good. It will squish out any excess, so you generally don't have to worry about it. I mean, yeah, can it make a difference? A small difference, sure. But, you know, it's not I generally don't worry about that at all as far as too much paste. I've never seen it make big enough difference to be a cause for concern. So one thing that I really like to do on like regular heat sinks, and I'm going to show you guys. I will show how this is done when the paste is released. Let me pull this up real fast. So I do like to apply paste like this. Okay, hang on. So you may think you're lying. This is a stock heatsink. No, it is not. This is a stock heatsink, but this paste is applied manually by hand with one of our tester compounds on an AMD Ryzen 5600X. And this is a really nice uniform layer, and I just love when it looks like this. Does it make a difference between a blob in the center, line in the center? Probably not, but I just like the look of it. It looks so nice and fresh in OEM. Yeah, Miles, we use 880 or Shinichi. 880 is basically a knockoff of Shinichi. That's literally all it is. It's a knockoff of Shinichi. But whatever, it works. I've actually found 880 works better than Arctic than MX4 of a lot of others, and you know, it's decent stuff. Yeah, Briz, don't leave Peter out. Now for our little resistor. Get hot. Sure, I thought I had damaged a customer A1502 2015 screen because a light fitting fell on it from the ceiling, then it turns out it was just old damage, just coincidence. Oh, I've done that before. I've done that. Yeah, yeah. Not dropped a light fixture on it, but yeah. The HY710 or 610, whatever, and the gold anti-seize stuff is garbage. Yes, it absolutely is. We've tested that, and that stuff is basically not thermal paste. So I see from on repair shops that send us repairs, I see a lot of this gold or this silver, really silver stuff, and I finally found out what it is. It's the HY7 stuff. They also make a 610 or whatever that's gold, and it's just as bad as this stuff. So this stuff right here is Fool's thermal paste. And why it's Fool's thermal paste is they put like mica powder in it to make it seem like it's silver stuff, when in reality, it's just like white stuff. Okay, it's just like zinc oxide and silicone-based stuff. But the mica powder in it that makes it look all silvery or gold, there's the silver one and then there's the gold one. They're equally as garbage. Okay, they fool you into thinking that's aluminum or silver or whatever. It's not. It's makeup. Okay, that is literally makeup powder. And you could realize that. You could figure this out if you get a little bit on your finger. Okay. This is what it looks like. Shoot. I probably shouldn't do this, but this is what it looks like. Okay. And yes, my hands are greasy because I've been working on suspension parts all day. Anyway. Okay, it sticks very well, and it doesn't come off, okay? That is not what aluminum looks like. Aluminum powder is much darker than that, and it comes right off. If you wipe it with a paper towel, it will come right off. This stuff doesn't come right off. This stuff right here, we see it in use from repair shops. The gold one is just as bad. It's the same stuff. It's literally just... well, like worse than the white stuff because the mica powder and makeup powder, same thing. There's stuff called mica powder. This is just standard white stuff with crap added into it to make it look high performance, and it's not. And the stuff that's added to it is actually a thermal insulator and ruins the performance of it. Don't buy this stuff. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, I know you get a big tube for this, but you will have performance issues like this. So don't use that garbage. Literally the cheapest white stuff, okay, the cheapest like automotive white thermal compound that has a thermal conductivity of like 0.17 is better than this stuff, which claims to be 3.17 watts per meters Kelvin, which is not true. I see Tim is getting serious. He's wearing a beard now. Yes, I've had a beard for almost a year now. And the reason why I grew, well, I didn't grow it out, but I didn't keep a clean shaven face is because customers will come in if I have a clean shaven face and be like, oh, are you the one doing the repairs? Is anyone more experienced here? And I don't want to deal with that. That, Paul, is a MRI head coil that you see in the background, and yes, 41 milliamps, 0.28. This is booting current, and this looks to be fixed. 0.29, that's right what I want to see. CPU V-core is what? No, not present, really? Is it? Darn. VCCIO is present. CPU heatsink is piping hot. No V-core at all? That seems like it's booting though. So maybe, I don't know, these can be weird sometimes where they don't request V-core, it just... It is, Jim. It totally is. I don't know if this is fixed yet, but we're going to see. The amperage is normal, Copaz, for this board. That makes me think it's in some weird mode where the CPU is like, I don't want to work. Here we go. Here's the enclosure for this one. Chances are it's going to fire right up when we connect the battery. So Paul, it's normal not to have GPU vCore if the screen is not connected. That's totally normal. And sometimes I've seen it before on boards that boot. They don't have GPU vCore until there's actually a load on the GPU. It just like sucks power internally out of the CPU. These Intel ULV chips can be weird like that. So like they need to have a load or something. They're just weird. But I've had boards missing GPU vCore. I've had one board, I think it was a 1708 board, that did not have any phase, no CPU power after boot, and it was on. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know at all. I think it's just a weird thing that some of them do with some version of Intel ME firmware. I don't know. Let's see. I think I have one of those mouse. Alright, I have trackpad click. No Apple logo yet. .53, 37. .6, 45. .37. Apple logo, look at that. So, yes, you can have no GPU vCore, no CPU vCore, and have the machine boot. Oh boy, it looks like some place has wiped the operating system. Yeah, so the place before, that got to us before, it looks like they did a DFU revive, and they wiped the operating system. Lovely. Crappy repair shops. Yep. So this sole purpose here was for data recovery, and now I get to tell another customer that because they went to somewhere else, they're not getting their data because some idiot did a DFU revive when it had an obvious board issue. Pisses me off. It really does. What we can hope is that the data portion of the SSD is still intact, because you're not going to have any luck with any kind of data recovery software off of these encrypted NANDs after they've been wiped like that. So let's hope that Caleb 6107, if you want to know whose this is. Yeah, that makes me just sad. That makes me sad. I think I've never even used that once, Malls, so. I get salty about this because the thing is if this came to me first, the PMIC would never have been torched. None of this would have happened. I would have gotten their data. It would never have gotten to this point. And the screen is unplugged. Darn it. So, how much crap are you going to get from the customer because of previous repair shop? Oh, I'm not going to put up with any crap from the customer. I won't put up with that. I'm done putting up with that. It's not my fault that you chose to bring it somewhere else before here. I'm not going to put up. You could yell all you want. I'm going to hang up on you. Simple as that. Yeah. I'm not. I'm at the point, so as far as with customer service, if somebody yells at me on the phone, I'm just hanging up. I'm not going to deal with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hope the data partition is still intact. This is depressing. This is very depressing. This has a sensor issue too. A thermal sensor is not right in this thing. Oh, that's why the freaking battery's not plugged in. I'm an idiot. Will it recognize it? Nope. Let's just try again. Well, I solved the case. Am I going to get paid for it? Probably not, because this person's probably not going to pay now. But anyway, let's hope that the data partition is intact. I've thought, I've thought about doing email only for a long time, and I've come close to shutting off my phone. Phone calls are annoying, are very annoying, but unfortunately they do result in business when, you know, fan spin is normal, yes, but the fan was spinning very hot, very high, because the battery was unplugged. It's not spinning at all now. Okay, Caleb. That came from very far away. I don't think you'll like where this one is from. So we're just waiting for that to boot into recovery, so we can reinstall the operating system and hope there's data left on there. I do feel bad for this customer though, because it's not the customer's fault that this happened. I mean, yes, the customer went to another repair shop first, but that is not his fault that he went to another repair shop first. It makes me livid. Stop doing DFU restores when you don't know if it's a DFU issue. If the board is not in DFU mode, if you have to force it into DFU mode, DFU firmware corruption is not your issue. Stop doing it. Oh, Miles, always. Like I was leaving, someone called, so the phone line shuts off at 5:50, at 6 o'clock. Someone called at 5:59 and kept me on the phone for almost 10 minutes asking questions and having me reassure them that I wasn't going to bait and switch them. And yeah, that was like, I don't want to deal with that. Yep, Malls, I've had that too. Or the thing that is, my computer's been there for like a month, and then you look at the ticket. No, it's been here for 3 days, not a month. Not okay, so because some people don't know how many days in a month are. I don't know. Some people think there's 3 days in a month, but a month actually has more than 3 days. It has like 30 days, maybe sometimes more than 30 days. But yeah. Anyway, this has 11 minutes left. I'm gonna go put the back on and put it over here. Anyway, case is solved. That was a fun one. Okay, cherry pick. Everything here sucks. What are you? Bluetooth not working. SMC reset did not fix. Let's go. I know exactly who you're talking about, Caleb. That is the same person that did not want to pay after their laptop was done. And I had to remove coils around the PMIC for that because they did not want to pay when their repair was done. Keep in mind, when you send a laptop in for repair, you will have to pay if it is fixed. Just in case anybody was confused on that, I don't know. Yeah, so if you're under the understanding that it's going to be free when you send a laptop in for repair, don't send it in because it's not going to be free. Imagine that. I'm way too snarky. Yeah. Yeah, Miles, that bothers me. I'll get people to call, oh, is the MacBook ready? Like, which one? There's like 80 here. Like, you need to be more specific. What's your name? Like, sometimes a customer will walk in. I've never seen them before because probably Caleb deals with them. They're like, oh, I'm here to pick up the MacBook. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's all we work on, but which one? There's a lot. $10.27. Suction cup. This thingy. The saying that goes something like IQ can be measured, stupidity is infinite is appropriate. Yes, it is. So, Bluetooth not working on, what is this? 1708. Okay, so typically when Bluetooth stops working, it's because there's liquid damage near it. And that's probably going to be the case here. So, first things first, I could tell this has been worked on. And what I can tell is it looks like it has been ultrasonically cleaned at one point in time. Interesting. Interesting indeed. This has had board work on, but it doesn't look bad. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, that's annoying, Briz. Yeah, Caleb, I've had that too. Cause this guy came to the wrong door one time. So we have two doors here. We have like the lab door, employees only, and then we have the walk-in door. And this guy keeps knocking and tugging at the lab door at like dark outside, so it had to have been after 6. He's like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "No, use the other door, please." And I shut the door. And then he came around to the other side. It's like, yeah. You don't look good. This has had work on it. Like, this doesn't look concerning. This doesn't look terrible. I might have done this. I don't know. That resistor doesn't look good. Anyway, 1708. Same thing, Caleb. That sounds good, Paul. I have not had dinner yet. I'm probably not going to eat dinner tonight, so that makes me hungry right now. Okay. So, let's look at our board view. I'm not sure, Paul. I almost think this may have been to my shop a long time ago. But I don't think I noticed that resistor. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, this resistor near the ROM looks not well. So let's get this turned on and check some voltages. The edge bonding around the Wi-Fi IC has been removed, so that's a hint too. Again, I don't know. Anyway, so I should have. Why is this like this? There. Okay. Ham and cheese croissant does sound good. Okay. So I should have 3.3 here, and I do. And 3.28 here, so it's not that. None of the rest of this looks like that resistor looks ugly, but at the same time it's not gonna matter, I don't think, because that's Wi-Fi ROM clock. I would more think, wait a second, I wonder if that ROM was replaced. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm going to do, here's my plan, is I'm going to replace the Wi-Fi ROM, though, because the ROM is paired. I'm going to replace the Wi-Fi IC, the Wi-Fi ROM. No, Briz, it's okay. I'm fine. Yeah, I really appreciate the offer, but I'm okay. Thank you for the really kind offer, though. I really appreciate it. So let's get this board out. Yeah, Briz, really thank you for the offer, but I'm good. I'm like, yeah. Okay, this is done real quick. Let me go. Let's hope it's not activation locked, and it is. Imagine that. Hopefully this gets past this. Come on. It's activation locked. So there's nothing I can do. But maybe there's still hope. Doubt it, but yeah. I wouldn't eat there, Caleb. Yeah, I'm good. I only eat the soul of MacBook owners, as Paul said. Now, Wi-Fi ROMs, Wi-Fi chips, they have underfill in them. Be careful. So I'll use really low heat on it because you don't wanna ruin that. Is the board fixable? Is the board fixable when the cap blows and burns a hole and still shows a shorter on infrared when you remove the cap? It really depends on where. That typically means there's an internal short, and if it's fixable, depends how deep and where it's at. So yeah, there's no way I could possibly diagnose that or tell you if that's fixable over the internet. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. Don't know. Teresa's here. Yeah, Caleb, there's a Sonic right off 10th Street West. Like if you're going to like Best Buy around here, Best Buy or Sharky's or any of those places, if you're coming down, so if you're coming down Avenue P and then you make a right on 10th Street West, it's like down just a little bit. Like right there's a Walmart and then there's some other place. Not the Walmart you're thinking of, the other West Side Walmart. But yeah, there's a Sonic. What am I doing? This doesn't come out. What am I not taking the screen off? I'm going to iPad Rehab next month, actually. It's quite nice to get a break from my shop. I look forward to going to iPad Rehab and teaching for a week. What's weird is I don't feel like normally if I go somewhere, I feel out of home. Like I'm not like I feel weird. But if I'm going to teach and going to work on boards, it feels the same. Like there's no form of missing my office or anything. Or yeah, you don't get that feeling of missing work or anything when you're going to a very similar place. I don't think I've ever had, yeah. I guess you fly there? Yes, I do. I don't swim, that's for sure. But yes, I do fly there. So, Let me make sure I have one of these first. I have replaced these before. They're not that bad, but most of it is ground. Let's see here. What do I have? 1708 donor board. Where are you hiding? Here's one. Do you have the... This has the ROM removed. Amazing. The ROM is no good without the chip. I'm wondering if I did that prior, and I'm probably not going to charge this person for this repair. $17.08. Here we go. Chip removed, ROM removed. ROM and chip present. ROM and chip present. Cool. This looks like it's been heated though. I don't trust it. This one looks pristine. Cool. Okay. So, we're going to pull this really gracefully. Let's see. Flying into Buffalo and driving, or a regional flight to Rochester from... No, I fly into Buffalo from Southwest. I like flying out of Burbank around here. And all the other carriers like American Airlines, United, all of them, the travel times are like 12 hours with 2 stops on all the flights. But with Southwest, it's 1 stop in either Vegas or Denver, and then right into Buffalo. And it's like 6 hours. Of course we show Flexboard view. We always show Flexboard view. I don't know about Briz. This one filled pretty quick, so it's possible it'll be the last one. I don't know yet. Well, that's a Jessa and me conversation. But yes, if you want to take the MacBook class, realize this may be very well the last one. There's a possibility it will be the last one, so sign up. I think that there's 2 slots left still, so sign up, and I hope to see you there. And just know you may not get the chance again. So do not use 400 degrees on this chip to remove it. I'm preheating at like 180. Just 1 second here. Someone is outside my office, I think. Okay. I get annoyed when people come here at night. There's zero reason why you need to be in a private business park at night. Okay, now I have to preheat the board again. So I'm preheating it around 180. And I probably wouldn't go above 300 taking this off, honestly. And my little tool just fell, which is really fun. But I want nice, slow, steady heat on this guy. Yeah, I've been followed from my shop before. That was really interesting. Yeah, that was creepy. Don't follow somebody, please. Yeah, someone actually followed me and then called the police on me after they were following me. Alright, so that was at 300 Celsius that we took that off at. Yeah, it was not, like, I was leaving here like at 11 o'clock at night. Car in the parking lot, you know, suspicious. I pull out. They pull out behind me. I figured they thought that I saw them. And then they were following me. And then I realized they're following me, so I sped up. They sped up with me. I did a U-turn really quick. They did a U-turn really quick. And that was an interesting night. Yeah. That was an interesting night for sure. And anyway, I ended up catching up with a LASD car. And first I thought he was going to pull me over because I was going like 30 over the speed limit. And I talked to him. He's like, oh, no, they called you in. Like, why? But anyway, yeah, that was creepy. Don't follow people. I don't care who. Yeah, don't follow people home. Thank you. They were having relations. Yeah, you should keep relations out of my parking lot. Thank you very much. So I'm at 540 to clean these pads up. This is all ground in the center. I don't think I reball these. I don't. Yeah, this doesn't need to. This is like QFN type deal. Do I even have a stencil for this? Yes. No. This doesn't look like something I would try and. No. Yeah, this doesn't get reballed or anything. Because sometimes these pads, I'm just going to tin them on both sides and we're going to hope it works. Now, I could have sworn this had a stencil because I know in the later models they do. Alright, like these ones. but this doesn't. I don't think I've used a stencil on this. It's not something that frequently fails, so I don't remember, you know. No, maybe it does. Hang on. I'm confusing myself. No. Okay. I'm being an idiot. I'm being a tired moron. Okay. Just got to finish cleaning this edge bonding off. And we should be able to just place this right on there. Don't push this down, please. Well, maybe you can push it down, but I wouldn't. Yeah, so this does have underfill in the chip, so you can overheat it very easily. I have a feeling it uses all these ground pads as like an antenna type deal. Okay. There's that. I'm going to put that aside. Here's our patient board. We're going to take this off. Now, I don't care about it on this board, so I could just rip this off at 400, make it quick. I've seen stencils with it on there too. I don't know. Yeah. I remember using a stencil last time I did one of these, so. That thing stinks like strawberries. Burning strawberries. Let me get my ultrasonic on. And maybe something, maybe I need a little more caffeine. That would help. I need to use my darn fume extractor is what I need to do. Ah, 34 milligrams of caffeine, that's not enough. That's a scam. Yeah, my fume extractor is hardly ever used as well. Okay. So first things first, there's some resistors that look a little sad here. And I gotta remember the board that I took this off of to take the ROMs off of. Let me swap the ROMs real quick before I forget. Done. This ROM was replaced before. Okay. Maybe it was. I don't know. Would explain the whole issue if that was the case. There's that. So I don't know if I've been affected by flux or not, but I know that my red blood cell count has been higher since I've started this industry, which I don't know if that comes along with what, which can be totally normal, but yeah. I've had red blood cell count be flagged a few times on blood work, but that's not necessarily a problem. I mean, polycythemia vera, which is basically a cancer of the bone marrow, can cause that, but it's usually much higher, and if it's not that, it's usually nothing to be concerned about, so I don't care enough about that to worry about it. If your red blood cell count's in the 7s, then yeah, consider that a problem. But 5.8, 5.9, like mine has been 6 something at one point in time, probably just dehydration. I know what I did here, so I did make a bridge. Which I'm gonna fix. I guess I'd rather be polycythemic than anemic. It sounds like you might have a problem, Malls. And that's a problem that I can't help you with. I do not know how to solve that problem yet. Except run, hide, steal doors. Okay, let's get our chip. He's got a 40-pack of water behind him waiting. I drank like 5 bottles of water. I drank like 5 bottles of water today alone. (300°C). Hopefully this works. Oh. Now I get it, Malls. Keep the liver at fatty liver disease and not cirrhosis, and you'll live a long time. I don't think this is going to work, to be honest, but let's see. Maybe it will. Time to put it back in the enclosure and see. I don't want to see no Wi-Fi hardware detected, because that means I got to do it again. I don't think I've ever changed this on a 1708. I've changed it on a 2159. And like maybe 1990. Could have sworn I have a stencil for this though. It's bugging me now because yeah, I had a stencil for this. Let's see. Yeah, I know I have a stencil for this. Anyway, let's see. I've seen worse things work, so. Yeah, my brain is just not working right tonight. Probably because it's almost midnight. Mac 1 or Mac 4? Yeah. I have those. The question is, where are they? They're somewhere here. Looks like I'm getting nothing. I'm pulling 2 amps with no power, which probably means our chip is shorted. Let's try without a battery. No good. So that's what I mean about these chips being easy to kill. We gotta move on. I'll pull another one. Let me try and hunt down this stencil. I know I have a stencil for this. So give me a minute. Might be over here in this kit of stencils. This is RAM. Now it's bothering me. Because I know I have a stencil for this. Screw it, I'll just buy a new stencil. I'll buy a new stencil for it to be here on Tuesday. Malls, that sounds like a nightmare. Where is it? Is it near the Wi-Fi IC, I'm guessing? The internal short? Now I'm looking at the stencils, and I don't see this in any of the stencils. Let's see. Okay, Mac 1. Yep, there it is. That's what I need. I have this. Yeah, I'm going to order this stencil, and then it's going to come. Scam. Alright, I'm not going to attempt this with the stencil because it's not going to work. So we're going to move on. This is coming next day air, which means Tuesday because today is not a business day. Today is Friday night? Saturday night? One of those. one of those nights, Friday or Saturday. Okay. Moving on. Next board. What can I possibly cherry pick? We'll take this one. A 1990 history of liquid damage. Notes of no liquid damage seen on board. Probably some weird T2 DFU type stuff. Okay. I wish I had a no A1466 no backlight. Those are literally out same day. A1466 no power with a shorted PP bus cap, or what do you call it? The other thing, backlight, is usually out same day. Okay, let's go. The first one has been here a long time and has been a rabbit hole, but it is solved, but it doesn't work. Okay. 20 volts, 0.05, 0.04, 0.03, 0.08, 0.010, that is atypical, 0.05, 0.06, 0.05, and so on. Atypical for your typical DFU type nonsense. Oh, this has flux on it. What? Why is there flux near the 2B5 circuit? What? Why? Did I do? I did this. Okay, never mind. I did this. I remember now. Briz, I just got here at like 9 o'clock at night, so yeah, I literally just got here at 9 o'clock at night. Oh, 65 ohms to ground, that's too low. But if the NAND is some weird type, then yeah, you can get that. So, not good. Not good. Anyway. There's no NANDs on this side. So there a lot of times NANDs die on these things on the 1990 2141s. There's no liquid damage here. This board is not liquid damaged. Ground. Normal. Normal. That's not, maybe not right. I like how I solve the hardest cases sometimes late at night. Like, there's cases that'll bother me for weeks, and I'll come in here half asleep and it just clicks and it works. These 2v5 NAND SSD zeros at 80 ohms. 80 ohms seems a little weird. Yeah, 80 ohms, I don't like 80 ohms here. That's... But if the voltage is normal there, the chances of the NANDs being dead is very low. So let's see what voltage is on PP2V5 NAND SSD 0. No, thermal paste fell. Oh well. That's on the floor now, and I don't care. Yep, 0 volts. 0 volts. 0 volts. Nothing. Well, based on that weird amp draw, I do owe it a thermal scan. Because it's... Again, it's a little weird for it to have an amp draw. So... But again, it's probably dead given the fact that I have 65 ohms on PP2V5 NAND. SSD 0, I just want to make a final verdict of it. Shoot, what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. With OBS, not with MacBooks. Okay. Thermal on. Video capture device on. Display capture on. There we go. I want you to connect. Are you going to connect? You are not going to connect. You're going to be stubborn, thermal camera. Yeah, I know. Connect? Yes, you are connected. Connected thermal camera. Good thermal imaging does save you time, though. I mean, look at that one case. We're going to watch and wait. Nothing. T2, normal. PP bus coil, normal. CD3217, normal. T2 area, normal. Finger temperature, normal. Everything. Alright, this is dead. That's enough for me to call that dead. Let's see here. What are you? Okay, here's one that's interesting. This, I don't like doing these on stream because they tend to be long, drawn-out issues, but... Liquid damage, 1990. High fan speed, slow performance. Previous attempt. I've already went through this one a few times, and it's probably something simple that I'm overlooking. Anyway, let's look at the board. So, slowness. High fan speed is nearly always a sensor issue. Kernel task being high, almost always a sensor issue. Let's do an overview, another overview. What did I miss? Little thermal sensor, where are you? I have no idea. Optimized logic board repair. I don't know what they were thinking when they spelled super like that. This is milk, but nothing here looks overly bad. I have had the ISL whatever cause issues, 9240. I want to see what the internal diagnostic comes up with. This is flux, not for me. I'll replace the ISL 9240, then that's it for this one for right now. That doesn't, I don't know. Let me try and figure out what sensor is malfunctioning here. Yeah. Yusuf, which one were we talking about? The 1990 that we just looked at? That one, 2v5 NAND is at 65 ohms, which is too low. I'm willing to bet it is in recovery because the NANDs are dead. So, I do have a password for this one, so... I'm going to disable secure boot and boot into my test disk. So let's do that now. Throw the board in. And we're going to boot into our test disk, and we're going to look at the thermal sensors and the power sensors and figure out what is going haywire. Yeah, I know. It would be nice if we could run AST on these. That would be really nice. Or it would actually give an actual sensor code, not, oh, there may be a problem with the system management controller whenever there's a sensor issue. I'll have people that'll call and say, like, oh, I need a new SMC. And the answer every time is, no, you don't. Well, the program tells me I need a new SMC. No, you don't. You have a sensor issue. You have a corroded trackpad cable. You don't need a new SMC. Aha, there's somebody replaced CPU MOSFETs on this too. And a CPU coil. I see flux, and I see solder that is not mine. This needs to come out. So this has been worked on. And we're going to have to wait for it to boot into recovery and everything, which is boring, but it's got to be done. Let me grab my test disk real quick. Super high fan speed once power connected, SMC issue. Yeah, it could be. That's not going to check. I may do that next. I may revive firmware. I think I've seen it maybe once, if I recall, that did it. But I need... Oh, here it is. Of course, down here. I want to see which sensors. If there's like a crap ton of sensors, then yeah, that'll still do. If it's just like polymer sensor, then obviously just trackpad. But we'll see. Briz, shh about that stuff. Yeah, it can be the ALS sensor, the data line the ALS sensor is on being pulled down. I've definitely seen that before. Of course, if that's the case, what I could always do is just disconnect those data lines. That's it. Then we're done. Well, no, we're not done because you need a ALS sensor or webcam. I've seen that too. Optimized logic board repair. A trace for the fan. But it won't ramp up. Like sensor issues they'll ramp up. And fan control issues won't ramp up at just 100% speed all the time. I had a M1, the first M1 board that I got. You plugged it in and the fan full blast instantly, and it was the CD3217 was exploded visually, and the 5V U5700 3V8 AO1 circuit was destroyed as well. 24 minutes to boot into recovery. Okay, while we're waiting for that, I guess I'm going to do some reassembly because I want to get this one out. So we're going to let this do its thing. I'm going to do some reassembly while we're waiting for this. So that sucks. That really, really sucks. I got to do reassembly, so we'll do it. And because Caleb decided to come down with some plague of some type, so I know one here to reassemble stuff. So I will reassemble stuff. Let's move this over here. And we're going to let this do its thing. high fan speed means thermal sensor. It's not the battery because it stayed on. Let's see, U. 2141. Kernel panic on boot. Bad RAM. I'm not changing RAM on this thing. So I'm expecting to drop some viewers. That's fine. This is boring disassembly, but again, whatever. I hate reassembling 2141s. Let's make sure I have everything plugged in. Everything is already pre-plugged in because we were doing like OS stuff on this one. Yes, all good. So let me move my chat to this screen so I could actually see it. I'm trying to focus on a 15-inch laptop screen over here. Right here. Let me move it here so I can read. Do you work on things like GPU? No, I do not. Only MacBooks. I thought about working on GPUs, but I decided against it. Boring disassembly. Reassembly, I should say. That is down to 28 minutes. Okay, so the time is going up. Very, very reassuring. 28 minutes to boot into recovery. It's been so long since I reassembled the 2141. I forgot how bad they suck to reassemble. It's been a long time since I've had to do reassembly. So that then. This one goes here. This one goes here. I agree with you, Miles. 27 minutes. We're down 1 minute. Indeed it does, Briz. I hope Caleb recovers from his plague and doesn't like die or something. That would be bad. I would have to find a replacement. This one goes here. And there's one more like that. "2141s are no fun." To reassemble, here's this one. There, all the board screws are in. Now we got to do the annoying shield screws. So let's do USB-C first. USB-C. There's this annoying one that goes right here. I do have a large monitor to look at. I'm looking at it now, but it's hard to see because my eyes suck. Probably from looking through the microscope for 6 years of my life. I'll only hire if Caleb reaches his demise from this plague. So if Caleb ceases to exist, then yes, I will be hiring. That's for the screen, set that aside. Probably just got back from wedding, so I wouldn't be too surprised. Huh? Oh, okay, I get it now. Stupid question for you, Tim. I bought a used 2020 Mac Air from a classmate. He has this stupid password to Time Machine, I guess, and he never set it up. Can that be changed to restore only? I have no idea with software. That's a question for Caleb. So yeah, software is not my specialty. I have no clue. That is very much a Caleb question. Okay, that's done. That's that. We need trackpad now. This seems... No, here it is. What's an ESTA? And how did you get denied? I'm curious what you did to the poor TSA agent. I mean, TSA agents can be jerks a lot of the time, so I feel your anger. USB-C. Looks like we're missing a USB-C shield. Most likely because it was never there in the first place. Or it's here and I'm just blind. But usually it's because it was never there in the first place. $29 now. Looking for the little screen screw. I really dislike disassembly. Or reassembly, I should say. Here it is. this one, it's a T8. Goes on this side of the heatsink. This one, another T8 goes on this side of the heatsink. Then this shield goes up here. And this screw goes here. This screw goes here. And I'm going to check the notes to see if this had a missing USB-C shield. Let's see. Missing screws, got it. Okay, so that shield was missing prior, and this has been worked on prior, obviously, if the shields are missing. Customer denies previous attempt, but we know everybody lies, so missing screws. Yeah. Always take notes so you don't go crazy like that. Alright, so this thing is now at 33 minutes, so I really doubt it's going to boot. And it's getting pretty late here, and I know you guys don't want to see me disassemble, so reassemble stuff. So I'm probably going to cut this stream out on that note, because I'm just dropping viewers like crazy, and there's, you know, this is going to take a long time if it ever boots. So with that being said, I'm going to cut this stream off.